Hello, welcome back to the channel. So with all the talk of the lack of 4 stars, there's something that I have been kind of wondering, which is that do people actually want 4 stars? Because people will say that they do until the character that they like is a 4 star. Because when Mose and Gallagher came out, I saw so many people complaining, saying like, oh, why are they a 4 star? They should have been a 5 star, that kind of thing. Which, to be fair, is probably, a testament to how good Star Rail's designs are, but a lot of people, when they see a 4 star, they immediately just think that they are worse and less important, which, to be fair, is kind of true for a lot of them, especially a lot of the older ones, because they are just pretty bad. But being a 4 star does not automatically mean that they will be bad or less important. Like, we have had plenty of good 4 stars, Gallagher is still one of the best sustain options, mainly just because we don't really get many sustains in the first place, but still. Hunt, March, and Mose are good options for Fate Shout teams to activate our follow-up attack and get more stacks. Small Herda has been good basically ever since Pure Fiction came out, and is also a good option for Herda teams. Pella, even though she isn't as good now since Silverwolf kind of just does what she does, but just better, she is still a decent option. Same thing for Ting Yun. If you don't have Sunday, she can still be a good option. Like, a character being a 4 star is not automatically a bad thing. So I feel like when people see a character as 4 star, people are like, oh, that just means they're going to be bad, but that's not necessarily true. Like, I can kind of understand the disappointment of a character you're looking forward to being a 4 star. Like, I mean, I have had that happen to me with Shui, who I do like a lot, but that does not change the fact that 4 stars are important for the health of the game, because it gives people a lot more options besides just 5 stars, because right now, we have the opposite problem, where almost every single character that comes out feels like a must pull, because we're only getting 5 stars. And even on like the more sort of like story side of stuff, it's not like 4 stars haven't been important to the story. Natasha, Sampo, and Serval were all like fairly important for Bellabog's story. Ting Yun is probably the most infamous one, and started the whole like don't trust 4 stars thing in the community. Gallagher and Misha were also pretty important for Pentagon's story as well. Them being a 4 star does not automatically mean that they will be less important. I think that having 4 stars is just good for the overall health of the game, whether you think that they're exciting or not. However, like I can kind of understand wanting mainly 5 stars since they are generally, more exciting, and let's be honest, they're just more fun to use than most 4 stars. But that does not excuse not having 4 stars, because you can still make 4 stars good. I mean, they have literally been doing this for the past couple of ones, besides maybe like Misha. But I think that the devs saw people complaining about the characters being 4 stars, so they went, oh, people just don't want 4 stars, so they just stopped doing it. And like, people say, oh, it's just because of money, and like, I'm sure money is probably a factor, but I think it's also mainly just because they want each character to feel more exciting when the people might otherwise not feel as exciting. Which, like, if they want to do that, then the game needs to have some sort of change. Because right now, there's a couple of roads I think the game could go down. One is do more 4 stars. I'm not saying that you need like a huge amount, but not having one for this long is insane. And like, at least in my opinion, you can still make 4 stars be exciting. Just make them good. Like, that's all you have to do. You just make a good character and people will use them. Like, that's all there is to it. But I feel like, I don't know. At this point, I don't even know if people will actually want to do 5 star, because I feel like they might get excited for them when they are announced, but just because we haven't gotten a new 4 star in so long. But once they actually come out, people might just not actually use them, even if they are good, because 5 stars are just generally more exciting and visually a lot of the time just have better animations. If they don't want to do that, then 2 is to do more alternative forms, like Hunt, March, or Remembrance MC in place of 4 stars. I feel like that would fulfill very similar roles, that would give people more alternative options, but also at the same time, buff older characters who never really had a chance to actually be good, while also, keeping any new characters more on the exciting sort of side. But I think that if we really want to only do 5 stars, then it needs to be easier to actually be able to get 5 star characters. Obviously, it shouldn't be free or anything, as much as I'm sure people wish it could be. At the end of the day, does still need to make money. But there are a lot of key characters, especially, supports and stuff, that if you don't have, make teams feel a lot worse. So if we got more rewards to be able to get them easier, I wouldn't mind as much if we were just getting 4 stars, more events and stuff like that. But right now, we just aren't. Because basically all of the patches during Amphorius have felt super barren outside of the story, and this patch is the most barren the game has ever felt. The fact that we only got 2 events in the same phase, no less, is insane. Like, not having any events for phase 2 is insane. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, but that is just wild. And the most events we have had during any patch during 3.x is 3, which is not enough to fill out a whole patch. There's a reason why smaller events are important, is because it keeps people coming back to the game. If you want people to actually, pull for these characters, you're going to want them to actually, play the game. Now, I don't think this will be as bad if we also got, like, new game modes on top of that, but we haven't really been getting that either. We just got, updates to Diverge Universe, which is just not that exciting anymore, because most of the game mode stuff we have gotten has all just been Diverge Universe stuff, which, to be fair, at least me personally, I do enjoy Diverge Universe, but there comes a point where it's just kind of boring because it just feels like you're just getting the same thing over and over again, just slightly different. But besides just rewards, even though I think that is like the main thing that they do need to do, they also need to do more buffs, since it will give the older characters opportunity to be, good, since a lot of them have problems in their kits that do need to be fixed, and it will, give people more alternative options, kind of like what 4 stars would do. But people would already have the characters and wouldn't need to, pull for them again. A great example of this is Silverwolf, who went from being pretty mediocre to, like, a really good support on multiple teams. Just like, we know that buffs can definitely help characters, but the rate that we're getting them is just not enough. Like, we really need more, because there are a lot of characters in this game that need buffs. At least for me, at this point, I don't really care if we do get more 4 stars or we don't. I can kind of see the argument for both, even though I do still think we should just get more 4 stars. I think that they just need to pick something. Like, I think that if they are just going to do 5 stars to, make people want to, pull for characters that they might not really care for otherwise, they need to make the game more accommodating towards that. I mean, they have kind of been trying to do that with, giving us, like, a free Ron May, and I guess Luoja as well. And, we just got a free Archer, who is, like, one of the best DPSs in the game. But I think that just giving those is just not enough right now. Because most teams right now need almost all 5 stars to be, like, good, besides maybe Remembrance MC, and that's kind of it, and maybe Gallagher as well. At the very least, more events or game modes so that we can get more awards and, actually be able to get the 5 stars easier if we're not doing 4 stars. But like I said, I do still think that we should get more 4 stars as well, because the last one we got was a 2.5. And that is way too long without not having a 4 star. And some paths still haven't gotten a new 4 star character, like Preservation or Erudition. Now, whether you want more 4 stars or not, I think we can all agree that the devs do need to just do something, because I do think the more focus on story has really made the gameplay kind of fall behind. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.